Hey, what's up, guys? This is Justin, and I got another great episode in store for you today. Today, we're going to talk about Detroit, Michigan is the number one real estate market in the Midwest and the only Midwest city in all of the country to be in the top 20 real estate markets. Guys, I got some interesting and incredible facts to share with you. Don't miss this one.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Justin Ford Podcast, where I'll be releasing life-changing principles and valuable information focused on all things faith, finance, family, fitness, real estate, and so much more. Let's go!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Justin Ford Podcast. Super excited to be with you here again today, and I hope you've been doing great since the last episode. If you're loving the show, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform, and if you're really loving the show, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. I've got another great episode in store for you today, but before we get into that, I do want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Next Door Lending. Next Door Lending is a team of professionals that believe everyone should be treated as if they live next door. The founders and team members have more than 150 years of combined loan experience, helping clients all over the country choose the best loan program to help you accomplish your goals. Next Door Lending is currently licensed in over 26 states and has a team of over 100 loan officers specializing in helping you get the best rate and terms. And so whether you're looking to refinance your home or you're looking to purchase your next home, call my friends over at Next Door Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. Hope everybody's doing great. I got really awesome topic today. Obviously, for those of you guys that don't know, I live here in Michigan, right outside of Detroit. We call it Metro Detroit, and I have been a Detroiter from birth. Matter of fact, I used to live in Detroit, used to have an office in Detroit, and man, my heart and my passion is for the incredible city of Detroit. And if you're not from the area, I'm sure you've heard a lot of interesting things about Detroit, and many of the years previously, a lot of it has been negative, right? When you think of Detroit, at one point, I believe we were the murder capital of the world. We were one of the only cities to ever go into bankruptcy, all sorts of crazy stuff. But Detroit has just an incredible history of being one of the best cities and one of the greatest cities, really in the world. At one point, Detroit financially was the most wealthiest city, even more than New York City back in the day per capita. At one point, Detroit had close to, I think it was 1.8 million people in the city of Detroit. There was, I think we were in the top 5 and maybe even the third or the fourth largest city in America. But then there was definitely a downturn. There was definitely, a fallout, and Detroit really became the exact opposite. It was losing people from a population standpoint. Crime was up, all sorts of crazy stuff has happened really over the last 60, 70 years. But Detroit is on the rebound. And matter of fact, I don't know if you guys heard about this or not, but Detroit recently, I'm checking my notes here because I've got it all here, pretty phenomenal, that Detroit, Michigan literally is one of the best real estate markets here in 2026, which is phenomenal. They said it's one of the strongest value-driven real estate markets in the country, especially in the Midwest. And matter of fact, Detroit ranked as the top Midwest real estate market for 2026 and the only Midwest city in the national top 20. Phenomenal. So I want to talk about how we got here and some interesting facts about Detroit, especially for those that are maybe thinking about investing in Detroit or maybe want to purchase a home in Detroit. My wife Joy and I have talked about, purchasing like a loft or, some type of property in Detroit. I've always been drawn to Detroit. I've always been drawn especially to downtown. And I want to give you 5 major reasons why Detroit is currently ranked as the top Midwest real estate market. Number 1 is this: Detroit is still one of the most affordable major markets in America. Compared to cities like Nashville, Austin, Miami, Detroit still offers extremely low entry points for both home owners and also investors. Detroit median home prices are still dramatically below the national average. Investors can still buy cash flowing rental properties at prices nearly impossible to find anywhere else in major cities or major metropolitan areas. And affordability is attracting both first time home buyers and out of state investors. You know, it's interesting. I mentioned that at one point, I think it was in 1950, in the 50s, 1.8 million people lived in Detroit. And right now, today, 2026, the population of Detroit is like 650,000. Over 1.2 million people have left the city of Detroit over the last 70 years. It's the biggest change in a city's population. At one point, I said like Detroit used to be in the top 5. I think now they're not even ranked in the top 50 biggest cities, or maybe they are. I'll have to look at the numbers, but it's just crazy to think how we got there. Well, one of the things that caused it to get there was politics, was crime. People left in droves to go to the suburbs, where when you go to cities like Chicago and New York and Dallas and some of these other Houston major cities, people live in the city. Living in the city has always been something a lot of people, have really loved to do. But if your city is not safe and it doesn't have a lot to offer, people leave. Well, the good news is a lot of that is changing. A lot of things have been improved. And we're seeing that in the numbers, okay? And so again, 5 reasons why Detroit has become the top Midwest real estate market. We said number 1 is it's still one of the most affordable major markets in America. Number 2, home values have been rising rapidly. Detroit has quietly been one of the better appreciation stories in the Midwest. Here's some interesting facts. Redfin reported Detroit home prices were up nearly 15.6% year over year in early 2026. Multiple analysts are forecasting Detroit appreciation to outperform many surrounding suburbs here in Metro Detroit here in 2026. Since 2022, Detroit median sale prices have climbed significantly despite national housing slowdowns. And then number 3, Detroit is finally seeing population growth again. This is something that we talked about. For many, many years, Detroit was a declining population year over year over year. Matter of fact, I think since 1950. With this being said, this is a massive psychological and economic shift. For decades, the narrative was population decline. The story is beginning to change. Here's some interesting facts around the population. Detroit experienced population growth for the first time in more than 50 years, beginning in 2024. The city reportedly saw population growth in 2025, making it back-to-back years of consistent growth. And already in 2026, there's continued growth. More young professionals and entrepreneurs, remote workers, and immigrants are moving into the city and surrounding metro area. And population growth matters because housing demand follows people. It's interesting because if you drive around the city of Detroit, many of the neighborhoods are abandoned. Many of them are completely, demolished, meaning you go in some neighborhoods, you have 1 or 2 or 3 houses on an entire block and then vacant lots. So many of the houses have been tore down, burnt down, and this is a perfect opportunity for housing to rebound and new construction and new development to take place in Detroit. Number 4, for the reasons why Detroit has become the top real estate market in the Midwest, billions of dollars are pouring into redevelopment. The amount of redevelopment happening across Detroit is staggering. Ford Motor Company's redevelopment of the old Michigan Central Station became a major catalyst for Corktown and the surrounding neighborhoods. Downtown Detroit continues seeing major mixed-use development, retail, restaurants, office spaces, and residential conversion projects. And then areas once considered dead zones are now attracting investors, developers, and national attention. Detroit is transitioning from purely an automotive city into a technology, mobility, logistics, healthcare, and innovation hub. Detroit has always been a city of creating great things. We had Motown, we had the Motor City, cars, automobiles, Henry Ford. So many amazing things have come from the city of Detroit, and we're experiencing this rebirth or this revitalization of one of the greatest cities in America. And then number 5 is the Midwest is becoming more attractive nationally. There's bigger macro trends happening here in the Midwest as affordability disappears in many of the Sunbelt states and coastal markets. Buyers and investors are turning back towards the Midwest cities. Why? Lower costs, stronger cash flow, less climate risk, stable job markets, and better long-term value. And some of the interesting facts are national reports are showing the Midwest outperforming many of the overheated markets. Detroit remains one of the strongest cash flow opportunities among major U.S. cities, and industrial and logistics real estate are viewed as some of Detroit's strongest sectors here in 2026. A few additional interesting Detroit real estate facts are Detroit rents remain relatively strong compared to acquisition costs, which is why investors continue targeting the Detroit market. And inventory remains tighter than many people realize in desirable neighborhoods and suburbs. More buyers from higher cost states are considering Michigan because of value and lifestyle. And the city's image nationally has changed dramatically over the last 10 years. There's been reports, over the last 5 years that Detroit is one of the top 10 cities to visit in the world. So all these incredible things have taken place. Detroit is actually the only city where all 4 major sports teams are within the downtown part of the city. All Detroit stadiums for the Red Wings, the Tigers, the Lions, and the Pistons are all within walking distance, which is pretty amazing. Detroit still has challenges, though, okay? Just like every major city, Detroit has challenges with taxes, insurance costs, neighborhood disparities, and affordable concerns for residents are all real. But from a real estate standpoint, the combination of affordability, appreciation, redevelopment, and renewed demand is exactly why so many analysts are bullish on Detroit here in 2026 and beyond. When we were talking about population growth, Detroit has now posted population growth for 3 consecutive years after 50 years of decline. Like I mentioned, 2023, the city was up over 3,000 new residents. 2024, nearly 7,000. It dipped just a little bit in 2025 down to 5,000, but it's still at an increase of 5,000, which is nearly 15,000 new residents added in just 3 years. And in 2023, the population was 633,000. In 2025, that it hit 650,000, and Detroit is now approaching 700,000 residents. And I was wrong. It is in the top 50. Detroit just passed Portland as the 26th largest city in America, which is interesting because at one point, Detroit was in the top 5. Okay. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about my heart and my passion for Detroit. For those of you guys that don't know, I actually just took my builder's class. I'm in the process of getting my builder's license. And, our team, the Justin Ford Real Estate team, we started a nonprofit last year called the Promise Foundation. And one of the things that we do is we take 10% of every real estate transaction that we close and we put it into our nonprofit, and we use those resources to give back, to feed the homeless, to go into communities around Detroit and make an impact. We've partnered with some churches and some ministries and some other nonprofits to really come alongside and make a difference in our community. Detroit is really where our heart is. It's where our focus is. And our goal is to actually move our office and our operation into the city of Detroit. We want to be where God has called us to be. And one of the reasons why I've decided to get my builder's license is because we want to build affordable housing in the city of Detroit. So we have a big vision to be a part of the revitalization and the transformation in the city of Detroit. And in the next couple of years, we're really excited to be a part of what's taking place and ultimately what God is doing. There's been prophetic words, and so many people have said, even outside of Detroit, that God has really highlighted Detroit on the radar of something incredible that God wants to do from revival standpoint, from transformation standpoint, and Detroit is primed for a move of God. And from a business standpoint and a spiritual standpoint, we're excited to be a part of that. So if you're listening to the show right now, maybe you're outside of Detroit, maybe you've only heard some negative things about Detroit, or maybe Detroit has been a city where you feel like it's been highlighted on your radar, or maybe, from a spiritual standpoint, God's been speaking to you about Detroit, reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about, opportunities that are available here in Detroit. And if you're here locally and you've thought, how can I get more involved in Detroit? Reach out to us. Our team, wants to partner with other people to really do some incredible things for the people of Detroit, in the city of Detroit. And so feel free to reach out. You can find me on social media at the official Justin Ford. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and then also here on X, YouTube as well. And would love to have a conversation with you. Feel free to shoot me an email, justin@justinfordteam.com, justin@justinfordteam.com. Let's talk. There's some great things that are taking place, and we want to build strategic relationships and partnerships with people who have the same vision and the same passion for this incredible city here in Detroit, Michigan. And so that's it. Just wanted to share some incredible things that are taking place here in Detroit. If you love the show, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or your favorite podcast, platform. And again, feel free to follow me at the official Justin Ford. Before we wrap up today, I do want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Nextdoor Lending. They're not just a sponsor of the show. This is our primary mortgage partner for the Justin Ford real estate team. We entrust them with all of our buyers. They have over 1,000 five-star reviews, a perfect A+ Better Business Bureau rating. And so if you're a buyer looking to get pre-approved and purchase a home this year, call our friends over at Nextdoor Lending. If you're an existing homeowner, want to take advantage of the lower interest rates, maybe take some cash out, call our friends over at Nextdoor Lending. And if you're a real estate agent like me and you want to look for a great mortgage lender, call our friends over at Nextdoor Lending today at 888-885-3667 or visit their website at nextdoorlending.com. Two things I always like to leave you with. Number one, it's not how you start. What matters is how you finish. And number two, with God, all things are possible. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.